Hello, beautiful. Welcome to Returning to Light with Julia Treat. That's me, your host for today's podcast. It's a beautiful day here in Northeast Pennsylvania. It's the birds are chirping. I have the windows open, so you may hear that in the background. Not sure. Just wanted to let you know this. If the sound sounded different, it's because I'm enjoying the fresh air and listening to the birds. As you may know, a lot has been going on here for me and Michael, and it's been a wild several weeks. Things have calmed down and everyone's doing fantastic. Michael is back to, literally a walking miracle, and we are so grateful. It's bizarre how the energy has even shifted or elevated to even a higher frequency between us, around us. I don't know. It's amazing. Now, I made an announcement a while back that I wasn't doing readings any longer, and I've been referring to someone else. And recently have been really getting messages from my brother, actually, my younger brother who passed away in actually September 11th. Yeah, September 11th of 2023. Just was watching football one night and didn't wake up. He was in his chair, and they found him a couple days later. And by the way, they did have an autopsy, and they found nothing, no cause of death. So I am putting it out there because some people wonder about those things, but he's really been, close lately. And I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've really been pushing you away because I was angry about a lot of stuff myself. Not just because of his passing, but because of the reason I believe he passed, and I won't go into that here, but I kind of put up this wall or this bubble around me so that I wouldn't receive anything. I wouldn't communicate with anyone or anything. And I didn't realize it at the time. That's really gross place to be for me. Just yuck. And recently, opening up to that and knowing that I'm being guided by him and many others, and realizing that I have been denying my purpose, some things started to open up. I started to shift and make some decisions. And I'm going to tell you about a reading I just did just a few days ago for a mother who recently lost her son. And it's pretty amazing the things that he came through with. I just thought, and I do have her permission to share that, okay? But I want to kind of backstep just a little bit so you understand why I've come to this realization that it is time to get back to my healing work, even if that's healing, helping someone heal from losing someone. So I met a young man through a group that I'm a part of online, and he's going through a lot. Like a lot of people are going through a lot. I get it. And I would just encourage him to, just put it out there. Like what's a better way? What's a better solution? What's the next best thing for me? Because he was literally getting ready to be homeless. Had nowhere to go, no one to turn to. And I said, just put it out there that, you're open to a surprise, something being unveiled, something you never thought of. And I didn't go into details with him, but I had seen him actually moving to a different state. And I do not have his permission to share things, so I am not going to give any details about the where he lived, his name, anything. I just want to share how this also might help you if you're feeling stuck or lost or scared about what's coming next, okay? And then I'm going to get into this cool reading I did. But this young man, connecting with him made me realize, Julie, you have gifts that people need and you're not doing it. And that is a big problem. Now, maybe that's me talking to myself. I don't know. Maybe it was God. Maybe it was Source. Maybe it was my brother. But I've known it and I've been denying it. And so this young man, I didn't give details, but I did see him moving to a different state and that somehow this was going to be healing family lineage. Okay, now he told me he has nobody, right? Well, he did reach out to me a few days later. He had put that out to either like a better solution, something good for, the best thing for me. and he had heard from a family member, or maybe he reached out to the family member. I don't know that part. But I know that they did talk. They have not talked in a very long time, and they invited him to come stay with them and get a fresh start. I had seen the state he moved to, and I told him this after the fact when he told me where he was moving to, that I had seen. I knew that's, but I said at the time, I said, I didn't tell you that because when we were connecting and talking about stuff, he didn't see a lifeline anywhere. So if I would have said, hey, you're going to move to blank, this state, I said, I think you might have been resistant to that and maybe would have blocked that energetically from happening. So anyway, he has since, moved. He's there. I don't know how things are going now, but I just believe this is a brand new start for him. This was the catalyst. This meeting with him was why I was like, Julie, you've got to get back to helping people that you can help. So I made a decision. I said, well, I didn't even tell Michael. I just decided, okay, I'm going to start doing readings again. I'm going to start doing sessions and readings again. And went ahead and started getting all those things ready on my website where people could book. And the next day, the very next day, now I had made this decision. I said, bring the people I can help. The very next day, I got an email. And she was asking for a reading because she had just lost her son in a motorcycle accident. And this is the mother that I have permission to share about her son. She gave me permission. And so Chrissy reached out to me and she said, I don't know if you remember me, but my sister and I came to your shop. When I had a shop, they came for a reading. And their mother actually came through on the ring. They had recorded it, and they had said, she said Amber's name on the voice recording. It was wild. I actually did a podcast about it, and I believe that's actually a story in my book. So I reached back to her. I said, oh my gosh, and she did say I lost him in a motorcycle accident. Now, Michael and I had heard of someone passing away. It was just a few days before she contacted me. I think she contacted, I don't know. Anyway, it was on a Saturday because we had just ridden motorcycles ourselves. And then we had heard about someone passing away. We didn't know who it was. Well, I told her, of course, I remember you. And yes, I'll speak with you. I can see you as early as tomorrow. I didn't want her to hold on to that hope or expectation or grief. Like, I don't even know. I just knew I wanted to talk to her as soon as possible. So we met the next day. I sent her the Zoom link, and it was pretty cool because I told her when we got on, she was there, her sister Amber was there. Chrissy was the only one on camera, but Amber was there, Savannah was there, and Chrissy's partner was there, Scott. And so I could see Chrissy, and I'm talking to her, and I said, I got to tell you this, Chrissy, that, well, number one, your son has been very busy because the night before, when I told her I'd do the reading, that I would meet with her, that night, Michael and I were sitting there watching something on television, and this kid, Andrew, wouldn't stop. And I was putting things in my phone under notes. I was putting all the things that he was giving me because I didn't want to forget, for the reading the next day. Now, that doesn't always happen, but I think the excitement in the energy of me doing it again and him getting to connect with his mother, that probably was all factors in it. So I'm, making all these notes, and I said, look, he's been busy, and I showed her this piece of paper because, that next morning I started writing down everything that he had given me and told me and shown me because I hear things like words, phrases. I might, get a snippet of a picture of something. But I really wanted to give her like the best messages reading possible. So I showed her the piece of paper and I put it down because I wanted to go over things with her. But I said, this is the crazy thing. I said, I have not done a reading really in like 2 years. And she goes, what? She didn't even know that. I said, no, I haven't. I said, my brother and my dad passed and I just took some time and I just decided I wasn't going to do readings. And she was like, Julia, I'm blown away that you have stopped. And I said, but here's the ironic thing. You and your sister were one of my first readings in my shop. Now you're my first reading. Again, the two of you in the same room. You're my first reading when I am getting back in the game. So just thought I wanted to share that because that was pretty cool. And I also told her that I had just announced that I was going to start doing, to to the world, to the universe. Okay, I didn't announce it online, but I just announced to the ether, to whatever is out there, the frequency that I'm doing readings again. I said, and then you emailed me the next day. So I wanted to share. She gave me permission to share some things about the reading, and you hear some people say, some psychic mediums say there has to be a certain period of time. That is all BS, and that might be for them, okay? But there is no time constraints. Andrew had passed on Saturday, and I think our reading was on Wednesday. So what, 3-4 days later? I may be mistaken. It may have been on a Tuesday, but regardless, it was just a few days later. And one of the things that I had written down, like they come through with things that the reader wouldn't know. One of the first things I asked Chrissy, I said, last night he just kept saying the name Dylan. Do you know a Dylan? And she's like, oh my God, it's his best friend, and he is having such a hard time with this. So things like that, right, that would come up, and we would discuss, the things that Andrew maybe wanted to say to Dylan. And again, if you ever have a reading done by anyone and you get messages for someone else, like I'm telling her things that he's saying about Dylan, it is not your job to go share that, okay? If you don't want to, then don't do it. I think she said she was going to, and I said, well, that's up to you, whatever you decide to do with that information. But I want to share this too, because I'd say almost all families have some kind of issues going on. Maybe not agreeing on things, or not seeing things the same way, or even just rebellious kids, which he did. In a way, I'm going to say rebellious, but I don't know if that's the word I want to use. I'm going to say free spirit. Okay, just a free spirit. He was a very wise soul, very wise. And when I said all this, she's like, yep, that's him. And he came through loud and clear, really to give her comfort and to let her know ways that he would be showing up, and knowing that he wanted her to know that he hadn't felt anything. And I actually saw him standing there watching the accident happen. And I saw him standing next to his grandmother who passed, who actually is the one that came through on the recording saying Amber's name years ago. I don't even know, guys, 10 years ago? I'm not even sure. Amber might be able to tell me. 10 years ago, 15 years ago? I'm not sure. It's been a while. And but I saw them standing together, and just him literally just saying it's a hell of a thing, like that just happened. So it is possible. I want you to know that your loved ones, I've said this in the past, we don't always feel the pain and suffering that's happening as our body is shutting down, at those, sudden impacts. A lot of times they're actually already out of the body and watching it occur. And that was the case for Andrew. Now, something that came up in the reading, that his mother was like, man, he finally, he was at the peak of his life. He was just like at the best place. He had the best job, like all the things amazing. Everything amazing was happening for him. And why did it have to happen at that point? And this is where I think Andrew's wisdom came through, especially from being on that side of things. It was like, what would there be a better time to go than when I had achieved that? Like I had reached that point of pure happiness. I don't know about pure happiness, but happiness and joy with his life. I don't know. When he said it, I said, damn, that is pretty cool that he actually just said it that way. That he reached that point of, satisfaction and happiness and looking forward to things. And anyway, I feel like I'm rambling about that now. And here's the thing, when I do readings, I don't remember everything. So I'm sitting here trying to tell you about a reading I did 6 days ago or so. And I can remember highlights and some details. Now, there were several, because there were other people in the room with her, I told her in the beginning, that means that others can pop their heads in too. So they can pop in it and give messages, and she understood that. And so basically everyone in the room got messages from others. And so it was it just was a great experience to be doing it again and to have that be my first experience back, doing my gigs, doing what I am good at. And realizing today when I was getting ready to record this, my brother last night just kept saying, and I remember a saying he used to say, it was like, just do you. Like, and I think it was just do you. Something along those lines. But what his point was, you're here to be you and do your thing. You're not here to be anyone else or care what anybody else thinks. Or that's really what he was getting at, just do you. And I realized, damn, this whole awakening thing that I've been going through and that some of you might be going through, it's like we want to know, we're seeking the truth about every frickin' thing possible. And I don't even know if we'll ever know the complete truth. I think I'm okay with that finally, that I might not ever know the truth. But one thing I do know is that I'm good at what I do and I can help people with my gifts. And so I realized how many rabbit holes and skunk holes, but how many lanes I had gone down going, I need to know the truth. What's the truth? Where I totally was ignoring the reason I'm here. All right, so when I made that decision and I did that reading for Chrissy, I can't even begin to tell you the shift that happened within me, all around me, my body. I was having aches and pains for several weeks now. They just disappeared. And it just made me really think about anyone out there that is not doing their purpose, especially when you know what it is and you're actually denying it. It will get difficult, okay? It will get, it's just because you're here for a purpose and to be living that purpose. It may get difficult emotionally, it may get difficult physically, all the things. And maybe you feel like you've lost your purpose, or maybe you don't know what it ever was. Maybe you're just needing your next steps. What do I do next? Maybe it's connecting with someone who has left, who's departed. And by the way, Andrew was 21 years old, I believe 21. Young man. He came through showing me his face, and then I did, after the reading, I looked up the obituary because I wanted to see what he looked like, and I was like, yep, there you are. Exactly like you'd shown me what you look like. And so I have much gratitude towards Andrew and his family for, helping me. And I told them, I said, I'm so grateful because you've helped me just realize how much I'm needed and that I can help others, and I need to continue that work. So, that being said, yes, I am doing sessions again. I am doing one-on-one readings. I am doing tandem reading, which is 2 people for the same reading. And I really suggest if you sign up for a tandem reading that you are really wanting to connect with the same person, okay? Not 2 friends coming together to just see what happens for an hour. Let's, keep this in mind. I had 2 friends come one time, book a reading. I think they came to my shop years ago. But I since then have also done other readings for friends on Zoom, which is currently how I do the readings. And I tell them at the beginning, like, there's no guarantees. You on the left, like, you might get most of the stuff, but you're here and you might not get as much just because you both came at the same time. Like, I'm just honest about that up front. Everyone gets something, right? They get what they need. But I just wanted to point that out so that you know how things work before you ever book anything. I am also doing past life regressions again. And those are the 3 services I'm doing. And if you ever want to book a group reading, even on Zoom, it works fabulous. You can just email me, or you can contact me on my website and we can work out the pricing. But if you want to book a session or you want to check them out, you can just go to returningtolight.net. That is my current site. It is up there. It should flash up. It says book a session or book now. It will pop up. If you want to get on my newsletter, which I am going to start sending out again, you can also click on that and get your email added there. So this is the start, the start of the new, of Julia coming not back to anything, but into her true divine purpose once again, which I think is going to be even better, if that is possible. And that's not from an ego thing, by the way. Okay, people have told me that I'm that good, and I know it. I own it. I own that I'm that good. and I'm going to start helping others with these amazing gifts that I've been blessed with. I am grateful for you. If you're new to my podcast, thank you so much for, tuning in to see what this is all about. I would encourage you to hang out and see what happens next as I'm coming back into my divine purpose. Those of you who have stuck with me, I am eternally grateful. We've been on a wild ride, and I'm just proof that we can come out on the other side of this. We can learn and we can grow, and then we can embrace the reason that we're here. I am here for a particular purpose. You are here for a particular purpose. All right? No one's purpose is bigger or better than anyone else's. It's just what you are here to do. So, with that, I will sign off. I am sending so much love your way. The light in me sees the light in you, and it is divine.